You going first?
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It is with great pleasure we are here today to announce the new director for the Black Engagement Office, Jack Drummond. I just wanted to give you a brief background as to what is the Black Engagement Office. This office works to align and focus resources and initiatives towards the specific goal of reducing economic and social disparities and improving outcomes for Black men and boys, as well as the communities they live in. So the director, which is going to be a new twist, is also going to play a leading role in delivering the mission of My Brother's Keeper Philadelphia. So the president had put out a challenge to us countrywide to address the opportunity gaps that exist. And so he's going to have that in his bailiwick, as well as the African American Male Commission. So I just want to make sure that we are supportive of Jack as he steps up to his new role. We have a new team in process, a new administration that believes in this, and I'll give the floor to the mayor.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Nina, for your leadership, in the Public Engagement Office and your continued insight into helping us all work towards an inclusive and diverse administration and a city. I'm focused on closing the opportunity gap for young men of color. For far too long, too many of our young men of color have fallen in the grasp of an inadequate education system, poverty, and violence. I just came back from the Pennypacker School up at the Philadelphia Industrial Correction Center, and there are young men who are incarcerated there. They're in very small class sizes. They have great teachers and great materials and books, things that they didn't have before they were in prison. So it's very sad to think that, young men have to go to prison to get the kind of educational opportunities that are afforded at our correctional system. And I was wondering aloud and to myself, if they had had those opportunities before they got in trouble, would they have gotten in trouble in the first place? And it was very poignant that today we're announcing Jack, but just coming back from State Road and seeing very, very intelligent young men trying to do their best to make their way back. The Black Male Engagement Office was created in the previous administration to address the needs of young men of color where they are in their communities, issues of public safety, jobs, health, and other needs. The works to align and focus resources and initiatives towards the specific goal of reducing economic and social disparities and improving outcomes for which Black men and boys, as well as the communities in which they live. This is why I'm glad to continue the work of this office and committed to its mission. In addition to announcing our new director, I also want to announce that this appointment will help us restructure the Black Male Engagement Office, as the director will also implement, as Nina said, and manage the Philadelphia-based action plan of President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative. MBK is a Philadelphia collective that engages and empowers individuals and organizations to take action in dismantling systems of inequality to create measurable change for our youth. Both the Black Male Engagement Office and My Brother's Keeper are aligned with our priorities of inclusion and shared prosperity, irrespective of your zip code or where you live. So I'm proud to announce and introduce Jack Drummond as the Director of Black Male Engagement for Philadelphia. Jack has a strong educational foundation, the first in his family, like myself, to attend college, and unlike myself, is pursuing a doctorate. His trajectory in education is only matched by his commitment to community. Jack also has a unique perspective as an artist, and he uses it to engage with our youth. I'm confident that this young man will be an asset to the work of this office, and I look forward to learning from him as well. So please welcome Jack Drummond.
Thank you very much. I'm touched, moved, and inspired to be selected, to be appointed to a position like this. I think that it is a position that's going to require sort of enduring much responsibility from past administration. And I'm also very excited to be a part of this administration under the leadership of a mayor who cares about this particular group, Black men and boys. And I think a direct reflection of your caring for the position is that you kept this position under your administration. So thank you very much for that, Mayor Kenney. As I had stated, very humbled and enlivened to be in a position of this ground, and thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
We'll take any questions. I also just wanted to point out that Jack brings a unique perspective to this job, to this office. I wanted to say this before I ceded the floor to the mayor. And we're really looking to have this office be evidence-based and data-driven. And this is something he brings along with his community engagement piece. And that's why he's the candidate that we chose, because he's got all these different intersections that make his experience really valuable to us. So I just wanted to put that out there, that it's going to be a really holistic approach to making sustainable change.
Yes. Hi, how you doing? Oh.
So looking at learning what the past administration has done with the role, and also focusing on unifying or serving as a unifying body for many of the black male initiatives that take place in the city. Also looking at some of the aims and efforts around My Brother's Keeper as an initiative, and also continuing to strengthen what has been going on with the African American Male Commission are sort of the three primary things that we're. I think effective and efficient communication around that particular initiative becomes paramount. I think that going into some of the organizations and institutions who aren't necessarily familiar with the initiative becomes paramount in doing that. And I think that not only myself, but many members of the team will do our best to make sure that people are well aware of MBK. Thank you.
And just to piggyback on that, we are going to have a very robust platform, which will be part social media, but also part touching communities where they are. Not everybody uses social media. Not everybody has access to internet. We are quite aware of that. And so we want to have this office really make sure we're touching all parts of community, not just people who already have privilege to have access to these resources. So it is going to be a lot of on-the-ground work.
Joy.
Since this is his first day, I'll step in about that. So the commission was actually as an executive order by Mayor Good, but never got into action till Mayor Nutter. And now there's a move underfoot, a resolution that was passed by Councilman Jones to make it a part of the charter change. So it's going to come up on our election in April to see whether people will vote to have that commission as part of our charter. But currently what we're doing is, in this administration, we're overhauling all boards and commissions. We're looking at how people serve, who are chosen, what are the functions of these. One of the things I was just talking to Jack about is we want our African American Male Commission to be the resource that we go to reach community, and one of the things that is our new buzzword today is asset landscape. Jack is going to be a dot on that asset landscape. We want to create an asset landscape that when there's so many people in this room who are part of that. We have Nehemiah Davis, who just walked in, who is a young black male doing all the right things. We have Jack here doing all the right things. We need our city and our country and the world to have a different view of different lens they look at young black men. We have Morris right here, Morris Hobson right here, who's been doing a lot of the work making sure people know about this. So we need to create an asset landscape where we actually tap that to understand how to serve our communities and go to them as resources. And that's what we want that commission to do. In fact, all commissions to do.
I like these press conferences.
Absolutely. I know that there's a lot of intersectional work that takes place in a position of this nature, and I'm definitely daunted and have been throughout my life. I know that black men and boys have been at the lower tiers of many of the things that you had mentioned, especially in the areas of education, in the areas of health and wellness, job acquisition, career acquisition, and that sort of thing. So most definitely, and I am quite understanding and alarmed by the statistics. However, I'm also a person who believes that, persistence, making sure that we continue to educate ourselves around those particular aspects and areas that change can come. Absolutely.
Jack, what did you do before this?
I taught formerly on a part-time basis in behavioral health and human services. I also worked on with a couple of black male initiatives that are currently involved, well, are currently happening in the city. One was in higher education, the Center for Male Engagement, and some others around the city as well.
And Jack plays the violin
Yes.
very well.
Very well, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
How do I define some of the challenges?
No.
I think the key to young people is being authentic and being real with them and listening to them and engaging with them as opposed to telling them what they need or what they want. And I think that's the key to this administration on many levels, whether it's police community relations, whether it's our education system, whether it's our community services, is finding out really what people want, what they need, what their aspirations are, and then trying to help them accomplish those goals. But if you come into a situation, whether it's young black males or any young folks at all, and you're not authentic and you're not real and you're not listening, you're not engaged, you're going to get turned off real quick. So I think that I know that Jack will be a great conduit to be able to engage that, but I think we need to follow through with what he's telling us and how he's directing us so we can respond appropriately to the community. As I said to you before, I mean, this morning, this afternoon, I was up on State Road, and those young men there's certain things that they look you in the eye and talking about equipment and supplies and smart boards and things that they need, and we want to engage young people so they don't wind up there. I mean, we don't want people winding up at the end result of that, and we want to help them on their comeback, but we want to cut off the opportunities from them to get there in the first place. And Jack, I mean, I've had long discussions with Jack during the course of this process, and I'm very confident he's the guy.
And we also have our youth commission, whom we're going to use hopefully much more effectively. And we have Ricardo Calderon here, who really believes, can you raise your hand? He's our director for our youth commission, and he actually believes in empowering young people and their voices to come to the forefront. And this MBK challenge that we are doing, it was a summit of 100 young people who actually set the tone for what has been happening, what has been transpiring. So we are sending a very clear message to young people that your voices, because they are the future, and we need to make sure they're engaged in understanding how to make that future bright.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good luck.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Good.